This is an audio excerpt from the book, first edition, February 2026. Leonard, the Centurio, Responsibility Without Mandate in the Age of Organizational AI. Written and copyrighted by Tom Kostrewa, published by AllyAllez Limited, Fusesberg, Switzerland. All rights reserved. This audio excerpt is a shortened reading sample. It does not constitute legal, organizational, or professional advice. Published in Switzerland. Chapter 12, The Centurio. Responsibility without mandate is not a leadership problem. The role that carries liability first. In many organizations, there is a role that is rarely named yet decisive. It is not at the very top. It is not at the very bottom. It stands where responsibility arrives first. The head of a functional unit. And this role is familiar, and yet it often remains indistinct because it is not anchored where decisions are formally made. And it is not located where work is simply executed. It lies in between, where expectations turn into impact, where results must be produced, even when not everything is clarified. The Centurio stands where impact begins, but mandate often ends. Expectation grows faster than mandate, and he is responsible for results, for quality, for deliverability. He is responsible for operations, even when new technologies are introduced, even when requirements shift, even when dependencies increase. What he is not responsible for is the structure in which all this is supposed to take place. He does not decide on scopes, not on roles, not on handovers, not on governance. And this is precisely where tension emerges. Organizations expect impact where mandate has not grown along with it. The functional head is expected to deliver, but is not allowed to reorder services. He is expected to take responsibility, but is not allowed to clarify roles. And he is expected to carry risk, but is not allowed to change handovers. This constellation is not an exception. It is a pattern that remains stable over years because it works. Not because it is clean, but because it is carried. Constraint logic instead of personal logic. Between expectation and mandate, a gap emerges. And this gap does not remain empty. It is filled through coordination, through safeguarding, through informal decisions. Not out of a desire for power, not out of disobedience, but out of necessity. Operations must continue. Here Wolfgang Muse helps. Not everything is equally important. A system is determined by its constraint. And here, according to Liebig's barrel, it is not the strongest stave that stabilizes the barrel, but the shortest stave that limits its impact. From this perspective, responsibility without mandate is not a problem of a person. It is the structural constraint at which the organization limits its impact. Organizational debt. The Centurio becomes the carrier of this compensation, not because he strives for it, but because no one else stands at this point. From the outside, this looks like leadership. From the inside, it is load. Because this responsibility is not intended. It is not described. It is not negotiable. It does not appear in the organization chart, not in performance agreements, not in mandates. And yet it takes effect. This is where organizational debt emerges, accumulated responsibility that is not structurally bound, but compensated by individuals. Organizational debt is not a moral accusation. It is a structural constraint. Responsibility accumulates where impact is expected, but mandate does not carry. As long as operations run, this debt remains invisible. It is not named, it is not assessed, it is not discussed. Only when something no longer works does it come into focus. Then the question is asked why someone did not decide, even though a decision was made, just not where one later assumes it was. Decisions occur without an assigned place. Decisions are made without being named as decisions. Priorities are set without anyone being formally responsible. Boundaries are drawn without officially applying. This form of responsibility is difficult to address because it is neither delegated nor refused. It has been taken on step by step, case by case, without a formal act. The Centurio does not act outside the organization, he acts within its gaps. He bridges handovers that formally exist but do not hold in practice. He prioritizes where several logics take effect simultaneously. He makes decisions because standstill is not an option, not because he is allowed to, but because otherwise no one decides. Visibility increases. The pattern remains. This logic is not new. It has stabilized organizations for years. It has made it possible for systems to run even when structures did not catch up. Precisely for this reason, it is difficult to criticize because it works, and loyalty generates trust. But as system density increases, this constellation changes, not because the Centurio changes, but because his decisions become more visible. What previously disappeared in daily operations becomes traceable. What was once regarded as experience now appears as assumption. What was once resolved pragmatically becomes examinable. With this, the load shifts. Not because the Centurio takes on more responsibility, but because responsibility that was always already with him now becomes visible. This visibility creates pressure, not at the level of the person, but at the level of structure. Because made visible responsibility raises questions. Who decided? On what basis? With what mandate? And this is where it becomes clear. The problem does not lie in leadership. The Centurio does not lead wrongly. He leads too much, not out of ambition, but out of structural necessity. Responsibility without mandate is not a leadership problem. It is an architectural problem of responsibility. And architecture cannot be compensated. Open question at the end. If organizational debt is accumulated responsibility, where does it currently concentrate without mandate? This concludes the audio excerpt. If you've listened this far, it likely resonated, not because it offers answers, but because it offers a language to look at responsibility, roles, and daily work more clearly. If this way of naming things helps you orient yourself, your responsibility, your position, or the weight you carry, then Leonard the Centurio may be a useful thinking space for you. You can order the book easily. Open LinkedIn, visit the profile of Tom Kostrewa at AllyAllez, and send a direct message with the word Leonard. The link is in the video description. Thank you and bye for now.